Hey everyone, it's David here, Surplus Funds. Hope everyone's having a great week here. So I'm going to talk to you about a challenging deal from the politics at either the county or the state and how to work through that versus your client. A lot of times it's not your client that's the problem. Hey everyone, it's David here. Welcome to this video. I'm going to talk to you today about an actual state deal that I have and how to overcome a challenge, not with my client, but with the politics of either the county or the state or the people. A lot of times people struggle at the higher end. And when I say the higher end, I'm talking about the county, the state. In this one, I'm having a challenging deal with the state of California. And I'm going to talk about this deal. But do me a favor, before I give you what I'm doing and how I'm trying to make this work, and this is going to be a revolving video on this deal. If you've not clicked subscribe, go to subscribe to my video and click the notification link. I give out freebies. It could be a coaching call with me. It could be a free course. It could be a surplus funds t-shirt. It could be a lot of things. Click subscribe and I'll see you on the video. Okay, so I was trying to reach a corporation owner back in 2010, 11, something like that. He had received $40,000 worth of funds, and it's sitting at the state of California in the corporation. So what I did is I found the corporation, I found the owner of that corporation, and I tried to call him and was not able to reach him. I got a hold of his mother. I told her who I was and what I did, and the lady broke down crying on the phone and shared with me that her son was deceased. And so as a funds locator, I don't say, oh, that's great. First of all, she'd hang up on me, but okay, here's how to get paid. I sympathize. And I really am truly sorry for this lady, and I'm sorry for her loss and everything. So I give her my condolences, which is totally true. And I'm really committed to working this case. He wasn't married. He had no kids, and his mother controlled the estate, and she handled everything all the way up until the point of death. So she is the one that I'd be handling this through. She tried to go ahead and retrieve these funds before they went to the state, and she was not successful in doing so. So this is when I say seriously on the state's part. I go ahead and I put in the claim months ago, toward the end of 2020. We're in the middle of 2021, and I get this letter from the state dated April 30th, and it says, thank you for submitting the claim for the unclaimed property. Before a decision can be made on your claim, we will need additional documentation as described in the pages. Now, I included everything. This lady gave me her social security card, a copy of it. She gave me her driver's license. She signed notary. She was willing to allow JD Vista to go ahead and collect 10% of this. She gave me the estate. She showed me that she was full executor. She showed me that she had power of attorney, everything. All this documentation gets submitted to the state. So I'm sitting here like, are you kidding me? Upon receipt and review of the document, our office will work as quickly as possible to make a determination on your claim. If the requested documentation is not received within 30 days of the date of this letter, your claim may be denied for insufficient documentation. If you will need additional time to gather documents, please contact me, and it gives a phone number. Otherwise, you may submit your claim. Please return all requested documents to ensure the processing of your claim. For your convenience, a mailing label has been provided. Oh wow, don't do me any favors here. That you may send with your information the following address. Okay, so the first thing I did is I tried to call the gal, and I got an email on this as well, and it was very. So this was an attachment email. So her name was well, I won't say her name, but I called her office, and of course I get an answer machine. So I went in and left a message. And one thing that I've learned is if you want to succeed in this business, you have to be overly polite. You cannot be rude to people at the county or the state or anywhere, because that's what they want. They want you to be rude. They want you to not get a deal here. So I was extra super polite, and I called up and I just said, how can we get this process? So what this is this corporation is showing that it is not at a good status with the state. It is suspended from the Secretary of State. So they told me I had to call the Secretary of State. This is all true. This really did happen on the first week of May for me. So on the first week of May, I called the Secretary of State, and I'm told I'm the 28th caller, and I'm thinking, okay, lovely, I'm gonna just hit the speaker button and do some work at the computer. And then I got one of those scenes. But if you want us to call you back and not lose your place in line, click 1 here. And I thought, okay, wow. So I go and I click 1 right there. Okay, so I go and I click 1 right there. So it basically states that if I want to if I want the state to call me back, to go and click 1. So I go and I click 1 right there. So I totally forget about this. I'm working A couple hours later, my phone rings and I see that it's the Secretary of State. I pick up and it's them on the phone. They want to know who I am. So I explain with this and they say, oh, you have to contact the California Franchise Tax Board. Well, it's like half an hour past their time. I know they're not going to pick up the phone. So I do the same thing. I thought, okay, I'm going to try them 8 a.m. the next morning. So it's something like on a Tuesday, Wednesday here. So the very next morning, I call the California Tax Board, and I've got my list of notes here that I had. And they said that he was not paying taxes for since 2008. I'm like, well, the business got ended in 2008. It's when the recession hit. I have this from the mother. So they said I have to revive the entity. I said, so the Secretary of State had, the Franchise Tax Board had the same thing. I call and they basically said, I was like early in the morning too. I was something like they would call me back within 49 minutes to 111 minutes. I thought, wow, why not just say 50 to 110 minutes? But 49 minutes to 111 minutes, I would get a call back from the Secretary of State. True story. This is really happening here. So I click the call back and I'm getting on a meeting. Actually, it's a staff meeting with a few members at Surplus List. And I say, hey guys, if you want to listen to this call, you're more than welcome to listen to it. But I actually need to take this and like, oh, we got work to do and we know it's going to be boring. But it's coming in as we're talking. And trust me, staff meetings at Surplus List, if you know anything about me and the company, they're from a 1 to 10, they're at a 10 for me. And time-wise, I believe in being early and staying late and I've only missed one staff meeting in the last I think 3 years. I've missed one and on a vacation. Otherwise, they're super important. For me to say I will pick up with y'all later and catch up with everyone later, it's huge. But I knew this up. I didn't want to have to call back and have it be like 3 hours later. This lady is so nice and sweet and has been so pleasant to deal with. Communication, I always talk about it. I have been calling her up and communicating with her during this entire process. If JD Vista, my corporation, gets nothing in this, but she fully gets her $40,000, I will be okay with this. But the fact is she trusted JD Vista to go forward with this. I'm going to do it. If I don't get her paid, I'm going to I'm going to have done everything in my power and have done so. And I'm going to push. So I talked to the lady at the Secretary of State, and she was very friendly, very friendly. She said I could revive the entity, and I said, okay, ma'am, and it would be $9,600 to revive the entity. Now, there's $40,000 being collected. It would make sense if that's our only route to go. I would go ahead and I'll talk to the mother about reviving the entity. We could file all the tax returns and catch them up from 2008 to 2020 with the $9,600 minimum and see about then dissolving the entity. There's an administration of dissolution. I have not even had time to go on that website yet. And I would have to do that from 2008 to 2014. So the corporation dissolved in 2009. I'm going to see what we could do. I do agree with the Secretary of State that the 2008, 2009 would have to be. There's also called an offer and compromise. The offer for compromise is basically we could say, hey, you know what? We owe $9,600. Can we pay $3,000? And have this get in good standing with the state. Once it shows that it's in good standing for the state, it's up for collect. It's going to be allowed to have a claim put on it. I've actually reached out to the mother. I've gotten some information from her. There's a couple things I've asked for. So I'm emailing the state. What I want to know is, and I've never done anything like this before. So a lot of people, and trust me, I like this. I like the fact that I could just call and talk to John Smith. That's an alias I use a lot. And say, John, did you know you had funds? You didn't know you had? John says, in fact, I had that last week, 2 weeks ago on one of my Live Monday calls. We're in the process of doing a claim right now. A guy had 26,000. He had another account of 13,000. He said, I found some other accounts too that he's had that have been huge. People that have funds don't know they have funds. Happens all the time. They're the greatest. Then you have these where I come across corporations, not as many people work them because they're more difficult. And then I contact the owner. This has been my hardest one yet. Now, if I'm successful in getting this lady to claim, JD Vista will make $4,000. We'll make 10% of 40,000. We'll make 4,000. Okay. And I think there's a smaller. We found one or two other claims in this as well that we're trying to get her paid. I mean, it's like 800. I mean, for her, it's a lot of money. I like to get people paid. Okay, I'm going to do everything I can. So my title of the video here is seriously, like, are you seriously going to hold this corporation accountable for years? I mean, the guy's deceased 2014, he was sick. He went out of business with the Great Recession. I do have a few attorneys on my team that I work with that do surplus funds with me. So I will be contacting, well, first of all, I'm going to contact the state and find out if we can pay the California Franchise Tax Board, if we could set up something. And the lady said that there's been similar done. She said she hadn't been involved in it, but I want to see if we could take part of that 40 and pay the Franchise Tax Board and satisfy them. I don't want it to be 9,600. I want to do the compromise. I want to do the offer and compromise. I want to say, hey, we take 3,000. Meanwhile, I'm going to assist my client in dissolving this corporation. And if you have a corporation, you need to have instructions on how to dissolve it for your spouse. I mean, it's pretty sad when somebody has a corporation that they haven't dissolved and their spouse finds out years later that there's taxes and everything else owed for this corporation. Again, especially if you have funds on something like you have right now, this is what's so huge in that. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can do that. If we cannot do that, I'm still going to reach out to my attorney on the staff and say, hey, here's what's happened. He's deceased. He's done this. So when I called her, and I called her back on a Monday call, because people see me get paid, and a lot of times when people see me get paid, they see me get paid on deals where I've made a call. And then like months later, I'm showing up a check. Hey, I got paid. And there's payments I have that I haven't shown. There's payments that I have, and I probably should take a picture and start putting up everyone that I've shown. This one is probably going to be not my hardest deal ever, but it's definitely a tough deal. Now, I always say that you can make more in this than your regular job if you do it right. And I have people that make over $100,000 a year that love this business. But let me ask you this question. Okay, so I have probably about 3 hours wrapped up in this business, maybe a little bit longer, but I probably have about 3 hours wrapped up in this business. Let's say I end up putting 4 hours in it. Is $1,000 an hour a good payday? Because for me, I've never worked a job that paid $1,000 an hour. But my point of this video is, seriously, like, okay, you have a guy deceased, you have his corporation, and you're seriously going to make him go through taxes and all the way back and do this. So I'm working this. My next step is going to be to email the state back, which I'm doing that after I do this video. I'm going to ask them if I can go ahead and release part of the funds from her case to pay the franchise tax board if they agree, so we could do a split there. I've never done that before. She did say that's happened before. I don't know if that could be done or not, but maybe we could all sign off where the secretary, the franchise tax board will say that they'll go ahead and clear it. The secretary of state will clear it. The state of California will approve the funds and will release them to the client. Does JD Vista want to get paid? Absolutely, because if JD Vista gets paid, I get paid, and I love being paid. But I've got a client who has poured her life into me and into JD Vista and has believed in me. A lady who has given me all her personal information, which I had told her we'd give it to the state. And on the phone, she said, David, I could just tell in your voice, I trust you. Here's my social security card. Here's all my information. Here's a copy. Anything you want, call me anytime. You have it. She has thanked me repeatedly on the phone. She's talked to me about how meaningful this is. Her kids have been very supportive of me doing this. She's probably, I want to say I haven't asked her, but I want to say she's probably somewhere in her 60s, and she is definitely someone who, if JD Vista gets nothing from this deal and she gets paid and she gets this resolved at the end of the day, I will have a sense of satisfaction on my shoulders. My goal is to come up with a solution to get her paid, to get the state satisfied, and to make everyone happy at the end of the day. And I'm going to do whatever, like I said, whatever I can to make that happen. Hey, if you've not subscribed to my channel, click subscribe down below. I give out everything from like a free coaching session. I give out thumb drives, course contracts, course information. I might give you a mini course. I might give you a surplus funds t-shirt, hat, something like that. So subscribe if you haven't. Click the notification link down below, and I'll see you on the next video. Hey, thank you for watching.